Okay, so basically we have started a linguistics handout, which myself and one of our previous consultants, Karina, started last quarter in spring, and basically the purpose was we wanted a resource for consultants to use in sessions when working with ESL students. And kind of the idea being that we'd have like a page for each language with some common errors and differences, and how to help students recognize those in their writing and also be able to fix them. And so currently right now we have Mandarin, Vietnamese, Russian, Spanish, and Swahili as the languages that we have write-ups for. And it's kind of nice because we can like interview staff who are multilingual and ask them what some like translation errors could be, or maybe things like if their language has articles or verb tenses and things like that. And so right now the handout's about 6 pages, but we'd like to expand it to have as many languages as possible and for consultants to be able to reference it during their sessions.
We entered car black to go to the wedding.
Do you see a mistake there?
No, I don't think so.
Well, so can you point out the noun and the adjective for me? Yeah, that's the noun and this is the adjective. In English, the rules are that adjectives go before the noun.
But if I wrote this sentence in Spanish, it will sound correct.
Right, I understand. But in English, we have the rule that the adjective is describing the noun and the noun is the place or thing. So we have the adjective go before the noun so it can describe the noun in English. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so Spanish and English are actually probably two of the closely related languages. There's a lot of similarities and a lot of overlap, particularly with articles. So a lot of languages don't actually have articles like a, and the that English does, but Spanish is very similar in that sense. Something to be careful about though is that in Spanish there's 4 words that equal to the article the in English. So for example, el, la, los, and los all could be used as the. So a lot of times Spanish speakers can be confused on when to use the because they have so many other words that mean the same thing in Spanish. Something else that's similar in Spanish is prepositions. They're used differently than in English. So for example, in Spanish, the word en equals to in, on, and at in English. So again, that one word equaling to 3 in English can be confusing. Same thing with the word de in Spanish equals of and from in English. So when you're like helping students with Spanish, these are really like important things to keep in mind, and it can maybe be helpful to you when you're working with Spanish speaking students in sessions.